Why bad things happen to good people? A biblical answer. We've all asked it at some point. Why do bad things happen to good people? It's a question that has shaken faith, stirred doubt, and silenced even the most passionate believers. When tragedy strikes the kind, suffering hits the faithful, and pain visits the prayerful, it can feel like heaven is silent. But the Bible doesn't ignore this question. In fact, Scripture gives deep, honest, and sometimes surprising answers to this age-old tension. Let's explore 7 biblical truths that help us understand why good people face hard things, and how God's justice, love, and plan shine through it all. Number 7. Suffering exists because we live in a fallen world. The Bible's answer doesn't begin with your pain. It begins with the world's brokenness. Genesis 3 tells us that sin entered the world through Adam and Eve's disobedience. The result wasn't just spiritual separation, it was physical decay, relational brokenness, and a world that groans under the weight of sin. Romans 8:22 says, "We know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time." This means hurricanes, cancer, betrayal, and loss aren't always punishments. They are symptoms of a broken creation. Good people suffer not because God targets them, but because they live in a world that's not what it was meant to be. But that's not the end of the story. Redemption is coming. Number 6. Pain does not equal punishment. Many people assume hardship means God is angry. But the Bible shows that suffering and punishment are not the same. Jesus himself was a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. Isaiah 53:3. He was perfect, yet he was rejected, betrayed, mocked, and crucified. If suffering always meant punishment, Jesus would be the biggest sinner of all. But he was sinless. In John 9, Jesus' disciples saw a blind man and asked, "Who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus answered, "Neither. But this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him." John 9:2-3. Your pain may not be punishment. It may be the platform for God's power to be revealed in your life. Number 5. God uses trials to build our character. Pain, while not pleasant, is often productive. God allows suffering to shape, refine, and deepen us. James 1:2-4 urges, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." Faith isn't proven on the mountaintop, it's forged in the valley. Hebrews 12:10-11 says that God disciplines us for our good in order that we may share in his holiness, and that no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness. God doesn't waste your pain. He turns it into purpose. Number 4. Even the righteous are not exempt. Many assume that good deeds or spiritual maturity should protect them from pain. But Scripture repeatedly shows that the righteous suffer too. Job was blameless and upright, Job 1:1. Yet he lost everything, his health, his children, his wealth. David was a man after God's own heart, and yet he faced betrayal, depression, and danger. Hebrews 11 praises heroes of faith, yet verses 35-38 describe how many were tortured, stoned, imprisoned, or killed. Being good doesn't mean life will be easy. In fact, Jesus warned in John 16:33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." Being faithful doesn't exempt you from suffering, it prepares you for it. Number 3. We see only part of the story. When bad things happen, it often feels senseless. But the Bible reminds us that our view is limited. Isaiah 55:8-9 says, "My thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways." Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers, abandoned and wrongly imprisoned. Yet years later he said in Genesis 50:20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." What feels like tragedy today may reveal God's purpose tomorrow. Heaven sees what we can't yet understand. Number 2, suffering draws us closer to God. Sometimes in comfort, we drift. In crisis, we cry out. Psalm 34:18 promises, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Pain has a way of pulling us to the feet of Jesus, where we discover intimacy we never knew we needed. The Apostle Paul, after pleading with God to remove his thorn in the flesh, heard God say in 2 Corinthians 12:9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Suffering strips away illusions of control and reminds us of our need for Him. And in that nearness, we find peace that surpasses understanding. Number 1, God is not finished yet. Perhaps the most powerful answer to why bad things happen to good people is this: the story isn't over. What you're going through right now is not the end. God is not done. The pain you feel today may be the very soil where your future hope will grow. Revelation 21:4 paints a breathtaking picture of what's coming. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. This is not religious poetry. It's a divine promise of full restoration. Romans 8:28 assures us that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. And Romans 8:18 adds that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. In other words, what's ahead far outweighs what's behind. God doesn't promise to remove every hardship on this side of eternity, but He does promise to redeem it. Your story is still being written, and the final chapter will be filled with healing, joy, justice, and eternity with Him. You may not see the full picture now, but take heart. He is working behind the scenes, weaving brokenness into beauty. If this message helped shift your perspective or encouraged your faith, please don't leave without subscribing. This channel is dedicated to giving you deep, Bible-based answers to life's hardest questions, without fluff, without sugarcoating, just truth and love. You never know who might need these words next, so consider sharing as well. There's more coming. Topics that deal with pain, purpose, identity, spiritual growth, and God's plan in a broken world. Your faith matters. Your pain matters. And God's promises are still true. Subscribe today, and let's keep walking this faith journey together, one truth-filled video at a time.